Hi, Chris. It's Steve. It's Tuesday. It is, what is it, October 30th. And why am I talking to you? Well, I'm in the middle of my project for my creativity class. It is 8:58 p.m. My project is due in just a couple of hours, and here I am screwed because I'm not ready. So what am I doing? I'm presenting to you. So what is this project? Well, the project is called Are You Paying Attention? It's all about observations and finding insights and hidden opportunities. How Tina Seelig presented that was for us to go to all of these retail outlets. What did I do? I went to 5 different stores. I was supposed to go to 6, but I didn't quite make it. So 5 will have to do. Okay, well, I didn't really go to 5. Why didn't I go to 5? Well, I went to 4. I went to 4, but I've been to so many different Apple stores that it really doesn't matter to me that maybe I missed that 5th store. So 4 different stores. And technically, I guess one of those stores was really a restaurant in our building, but it was close and I got a picture of it, and so I'm going to use that. So I went to a few stores. What was the whole point? The whole point was observing what was happening there. There was a whole list of questions that were provided, and I looked into how they presented themselves, how their retail staff worked, how their displays were set up, how was the store laid out in general, how did people interact with me? Were the customers all kind of together, or individuals, or shopping and buying, or just browsing? All of those kinds of questions. And I was supposed to observe this, find some details, and take my insights and look for hidden opportunities. That was a bit of a challenge. Maybe it's because I didn't visit enough stores. But what did I do? So I went to Nick's Fish Market in our building. I didn't really go in because I've been there before. I got that because of the outside and the way the store presents itself. It is a terrific restaurant in the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. It's an interesting study for me because while it presents itself very well and very cool, it is a little more high-end, and as a result, I don't think it does very well in our building. I think our building needs a little bit more real location. It needs a pub. No offense, we're not talking about TGI Fridays, we're not talking about Bennigan's, I don't even know if those exist anymore. Regardless, it is a very upscale place, presents itself as an upscale place, and I think they struggle to get sort of the workaday crowd that comes in there. So that's number one. The opportunity there for me is what happens with the Merchandise Mart and how they use that space, because I think they could be much better off using that space for something a little bit more real. So who else did I visit? I visited Eddie Bauer, Crate and Barrel, Nike, and as I said, I've been to several Apple stores. So of the 3 key stores, Eddie Bauer, Crate and Barrel, and Nike, I noticed a lot of similarities. The stores present themselves as they've got very high ceilings, they've got a very comfortable space, it's easy to wander through and see what's there. The displays varied, but are along the same theme. Oh, the other store I went to, I did go to another store. I went to Bloomingdale's home store. It was not the full department store, it was all their home stuff. So it was very similar to Crate and Barrel in that regard. So those were 2 interesting stores to compare. So what did I notice? Using Apple as a bit of a measuring stick, Apple gives you a very interactive experience. Their products are all out there and they're available to pick up and work with. Their staff is all very casual and interacts with the customer base, interacts with the products, is quick to get you hands-on. Nike, similarly, has a very engaged staff. They are very quick to come to work with you if you want help, but they're also very respectful. It felt very similar to me, to the Apple environment. Eddie Bauer was also a similar type of store. It's both of those, Nike, Eddie Bauer, as well as Apple, really caters to younger crowd. The retail staff is all pretty young, pretty engaged, very active, as you'd expect at Nike. So terrific staff. I think it matched their products. something about Eddie Bauer. I think they're trying to be more engaged like that, and they get you at the front of the store. But as you get further into the store, it becomes much more like a traditional store. They don't, they have the traditional retail counter to sell, so their checkout counter is similar to what you'd expect at a department store or a clothing store. Nike is somewhat similar in that regard for checking out. But a difference that I noticed in the Nike layout that I thought was somewhat intriguing. The way that you get into the store, yeah, they have, when you first walk in, they had a great sign that laid out what was where. If you see that, what you want is on the second floor or the third floor, it's very easy. Your escalator is to the right as you walk in. So I did that. I went right over to the escalator and I went up. The first floor was all basketball related stuff, which is, key in season kind of gear. The second floor was all football stuff. As soon as you got to the top of the escalator, there was an escalator down on the other side. So I had to walk from the center of the building where that escalator dropped me off all the way through a lot of the football gear to get to the rest of the escalator. And then I went up the escalator to the fourth floor, or the third floor, where, can't quite count today, where the running gear was. And that was something that I was interested in, so I thought I'd take a look at what was there. I finished the whole tour of that store. I engaged with some people. For the most part, it was young purchasers, but there wasn't a lot of buying, and very young staff. And I was engaged as I was about to leave, actually, the store, by the staff. I went ahead and went down the stairs, or down the escalator, and I had to go, again, I had to, because of the way the escalators were laid out. When you walked in, they give you a quick way to get up and into the store. But when I left, the escalator dumped me out on the back end of the building, and I had to walk all the way through all that basketball stuff to get back to the front of the store. I thought that was intriguing and an appropriate way to handle things. I think the opportunity for somebody like Eddie Bauer would be to reconfigure things a little bit to make the journey through the store a little more obvious. I never got to the back of the Eddie Bauer store because I never had to get to the back of the Eddie Bauer store. In addition to that, I did think that I was somewhat accosted by the Eddie Bauer staff. They were friendly, they were engaged and energetic and good, but they were definitely a little bit more accosting in their approach. Finally, the other two stores, Crate & Barrel and Bloomingdale's, very, very different experiences. And maybe that's part of the drill. So Crate & Barrel felt much more, maybe I'm assuming too much, age appropriate for me. I think it's more for the 30 to 40 set. And when I went to Bloomingdale's, it felt a bit more staid. In neither place was I engaged. In neither place was there a very clear path through things. And actually, I noticed, here I am trying to take some pictures of things for my assignment, I noticed on the door on the way into Crate & Barrel that no photography is allowed. I don't have any photos of the inside of the store as a result, because I wanted to respect that, and I didn't want to get chased out. I don't want to be, the 40-something guy that's been kicked out of Crate & Barrel. So at any rate, I really felt almost like an imposition in those two stores. The staff was talking to each other. There wasn't a lot of engaging with customers. So there's clearly an opportunity in that environment to be a little bit more friendly, a little bit more engaged, and to take some of the lessons of layout, of presentation of the goods. They seem, kind of 90s versions of these retail outlets. They were comfortable enough stores, but they just weren't engaging. So that was definitely an opportunity for those two environments. And then I go back to, back to the Apple example. Plenty of staff, plenty of help in those stores. They're not overbearing. They're not accosting in any way, shape, or form, but they're available and they're helpful. And this is something that I think these other environments need to embrace, certainly more than they have. So that's my little spiel about my observations. Have I found the hidden opportunities, the nuggets? Could there be something in there for an entrepreneur? I'm not so sure, but I certainly see the differences between these environments and the opportunities that they have to take advantage of some things. Going back to the Apple example, I think they've tried to continue to innovate. One of the things that I really like about what they've done now, and I've only seen it in one store, but their app on their iPhone gives you the opportunity to make your purchase yourself. So you can engage with somebody if you want to engage with somebody, but you can also go in there and actually act without needing to engage with a salesperson. So a very, very different juxtaposition, dichotomy between these different retail outlets. So that's me. So hey, Chris, maybe I'll see you again.